What it do, what it do, what it do, what it do, what it do. Back at you with another one. So today I want to talk about the in-season tournament, right? So, I mean, personally, I've been loving it just because you getting quality basketball, you know what I'm saying, in the middle of the season. Like early in the season, you getting playoff quality basketball early. So, you know, it's play-in is like the playoffs, you know what I'm saying, early, pretty much. So, teams is playing harder. The games is more intense because they playing for something. 500 racks, right? I'll be out there, you know what I'm saying? Hustling like me too if I'm playing for that. So, you know what I'm saying? Get at, you know. But this is what it's doing though. Now this might be for my old heads, but what it's doing is, I don't know if y'all remember back when you would be watching the game, right? And the announcer would be like, oh, this game got a playoff feel to it. You know what I'm saying? Y'all remember that? Anybody remember that? If y'all remember that, hit me in the comments, tell me y'all remember that, right? A game will have a playoff feel to it. Well, so you didn't have to like engineer these type of games, right? Now the NBA, it's like they trying to engineer it. They trying to create it. When it all, what used to happen organically, they got to figure out a way to engineer it. You know what I'm saying? So I was thinking like, well, what happened to playoff feel? You know what I'm saying? Well, what do playoff feel come from? Like playoff feel comes from teams that play in the playoffs a lot. They meet in the season. That's what playoff feel come from, right? So what stopped playoff feel? Why you know what I'm saying? What stopped playoff feel was player movement. That's what killed playoff feel, because all the good players is they hopping around so much. So you don't get those rivalry type games in the season. You know what I'm saying? So that's what's killed it. So now the NBA got to try to figure out a way to get that back. You know what I'm saying? Because the NBA kind of got to where like you just wait for the playoffs. You didn't really, it was very few matchups that was like must-see TV. You know what I'm saying? Like the last, I think, matchup that was like must-see TV was like, I think now maybe like the Bucks and the Celtics is kind of like you want to see that game. Then before that, it was like the Cavs and the Warriors was like must-see TV. You know what I'm saying? But other than that, that was pretty much it. So the playoff field was better because the teams legit didn't like each other. You know what I'm saying? Like y'all didn't win at it every year. You feel me? So I think that hopefully, like, if players can just stick to where they at, right, we can get the natural, organic playoff feel back. You know what I'm saying? Even though like the in-season tournament was a good substitute for that, because like these teams is playing great, but that's just a small chunk. And it's like early though. So once the season tournament is over with, it's still a lot of season left. So then what? Will the season get back dull like normal? You know what I'm saying? Where you don't really have like great matchups. You know what I'm saying? Like that's gonna really have that intensity to it. And I feel like they don't really put like, sometimes I feel like the NBA guess wrong on what players or what teams get nationally televised games. You know what I'm saying? Like I feel like they guess wrong. Like it's like Halliburton in Indiana. Like he need to be on TV. Dude is nice. You know what I'm saying? Like they need to go ahead and like, cause the league got so much talent in it where like you can't just put these few teams on TV no more. Like you gotta let everybody eat, cause so many teams got talent, and on top of that, the gap between teams is not as far like that. It's not like if Indiana play Milwaukee just gonna blow them out. No, it's gonna be a good game. Indiana just beat the Celtics in the in-season tournament. Like, Indiana good. You know what I'm saying? So I don't really know how the NBA can get the organic playoff feel back, other than players stop moving around and actually start seeing the same teams in the playoffs, and then it happens organically. But I think, like, they also need to put, like I just said, they also need to put some of these teams that, you know, some of these good players that's in smaller markets on TV. You know what I'm saying? Give them an ESPN game, give them a TNT game, You know what I'm saying? So, you know, that's my spiel about this whole in-season tournament. I do like it, but, you know, it's like they trying to recreate what was already organic. It's like, you ever heard the term, ain't nothing new under the sun? It's like everything they trying to do to fix the NBA, quote unquote, the NBA already was. Like, they didn't, like how they trying to go back to the East and West with the All-Star game. Like, yeah. Because it was like a little competitive, because they wanted to prove, like, we the better conference. It had a little, you know what I'm saying, like, all that. Like, it was competitive. You know what I'm saying? Like, they'll play, they had their fun, get their little dunks in the end, but third, fourth quarter, they hooping for real. So, you know, everything comes full circle. So I feel like the way they could have fixed the NBA was just left the NBA alone. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. So now they gotta try to. But I'm gonna leave y'all at that. Like, comment, subscribe. Peace.